我听说很多人觉得中文是世界上最难的语言，这个对不对？对我来说是，而且不是。Good day, guys. I wish I'd be recording this video here in China, but unfortunately, or what means unfortunately, I am in the Australian jungle. What other language YouTuber out there has similar backgrounds like these to offer? Anyway, when talking about the Chinese language, characters, calligraphy, a weird and unpleasant sounding language. But also, very delicious and spicy food are the first things that come up in our minds. 9 months ago, I also had a certain respect of the Chinese language and wrongly thought that you cannot learn it anyway. But I have to say, back then I didn't know a single character, and I also didn't know of the systematic approach of how radicals and components build up characters. And I also didn't know how simple the pronunciation actually is. And this is what I would like to begin with. Who Wants to Learn Chinese begins with pinyin. Pinyin is a transcription of Chinese characters into Latin letters. Every character represents syllables, and sometimes this character, this syllable, already is a whole word, but often you put several syllables or characters together, making up new words. I will just give you 5 characters and you tell me what is noticeable. It's not about the translation of the word, I won't even give it to you, just look at the pinyin. Okay, we have 天人去点路. What is eye-catching for you? I'll tell you. Every character consists of 2 parts. First, we have a consonant, and then a vowel or a pair of vowels. Okay, some words have an N at the end, like 天, it ends with a nasal sound, but just think of it as it belongs to the I, A, N vowel part. The consonants we call initials, and the vowels or the pair of vowels we call finals. Now, because we have a limited amount or a limited number of initials, of consonants, and vowels, the finals, we have a limited number of possible syllable combinations. And you can even sum it up in a table. Here you have all the initials, and here you have all the finals. Out of this you get all these possible combinations. And this table here contains all possible Chinese words or syllables.
你好
And this is very, very little compared to other languages. So a word like blue, just the sound blue, will not exist in Chinese because BL, you don't have that initial, you don't have that combination of initials. However, UE, yue, is something that does exist in Chinese. Now the good thing is, if you know how to pronounce these syllables, you know how to pronounce every single Chinese word. And you don't even have to learn every syllable by itself, but you just have to learn the initials and the finals, which are not that easy as you may think, because you don't pronounce them the same way you pronounce English letters. You pronounce them in a different way and you have to learn it. For example, the sounds J, Q, and X are pronounced like this. Zi, qi, xi.
Ji, qi, xi.
Now, on the other hand side, the problem is, because you have a limited number of syllables, you have the same sound for different words very, very often, so-called homophones. For example, the letter combination SH. There's somebody coming. Pause. Alright, just had a short interruption, but that's no problem. So, what I was talking about. For example, the combination of SHI in the 4th, so the falling tone, has so many meanings. For example, 是 can mean to be, 是 can mean matter, 是 can mean style, 是 can mean soldier, and so many more. And that's not even all the other tones. For example, the same word in the second, the rising tone, 时 can mean time, 时 means truth or really, 时 means knowledge. So you see, there is a very high danger of mixing up, very high danger of confusion. There is even a whole poem just with that word in the 4 different tones. shi, 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 shi.
What?
And this is why we get to the second point. You cannot get around learning characters. Because only if you read a character, you really know what word it is. In the beginning, there were just hieroglyphs for me. Hieroglyphs? Is that even a word? Hieroglyphs. I don't know how to pronounce it now because I have no reception. I can't look it up. But if it's wrong, I can't help it. So, in the beginning there were also hieroglyphs to me. But in the beginning, literally in the first hours, you can learn a few dozens of characters just like that because they are pictograms. They look like what they mean. For instance, ren, human, or da, which means big. Somebody does big. Mu, tree, ri, sun, or day. But we have to remember the fact is just like 1% of all characters are pictograms. Still, most of the characters indeed look like hieroglyphs. But not if you take characters apart and look at the individual characters that make up a character. For instance, we have the word hao, which means good. A very, very frequent character, I would even say like top 10, because people say ni hao, which means you, and good, so you good, something like hello. Now on the left side of the character we have the radical nu, which means woman, and on the right side we have zi, which means son or prince. So back then in the Chinese culture, or unfortunately today as well, that the male sex is preferred more. If a woman gave birth to a son, this is something good. And this is how you can remember how as good, if you know the radicals. And there are just 214 or something radicals, so really not that many. However, not all characters have a cultural background. Maybe they have, but it's not that easy to pull off. Sometimes it even appears to me as if they just randomly picked any radicals and put it together to one word. For example, yu, which means language, like yuyan as a whole means language, two characters, but yu as itself also means language, but it's never used just as yu, so you know, another difficulty about Chinese. Anyway, this character consists of 3 radicals. First we have the speech radical on the left, which to me looks like a microphone. So I always remember it as a microphone in a scene that I draw in my head. I always make an individual mnemonic for each and every character. Then on the top we have wu, which literally means 5, like number 5. And underneath that we have kou, which means mouth, but it also looks like a mouth already. Now, speech and mouth have something to do with language, but 5? Why? Well, I just draw that picture in my head that I speak into a microphone. I'm, I don't know, holding a speech somewhere, and I say with my mouth that I speak 5 languages. Languages, mouth, speech radical, microphone, 5. Language. Makes sense. So as you can see, you have to build your own short stories based on the radicals that are in that character. And this method is not new. It was invented by a guy, and it is known as the Heisig method. And he even brought out a book which helped millions of Chinese learners. But the problem with that method is it does not teach you the pronunciation, pinyin, included in that mnemonic. It only helps you to remember the translation, the meaning of the word. Now, I'm using another method which also includes the pinyin, so the initial and the final, and even the tone on top. But that just takes too long to explain that now. Okay, let's get to the next point. People often claim that Chinese wouldn't have any grammar. But what they mean is, it does not have the typical grammar like the Romance languages. There are no cases, no grammatical genders, like in Russian or in German. There are no forms of plural, there are no tenses, no declensions, no conjugations, nothing. But how does it work then? I'll just give you an example. We have a very simple sentence, 我是学生, which means I am a student. And now, 我 means me, that's a personal pronoun. 是 means to be, and 学生 is a noun, student. Now, if I want to say we are students, I just say 我们是学生. And the only thing I changed is the personal pronoun 我们. Men is always a particle that makes a plural out of it. And now, 是 remains. It's always to be, to be, to be. In every form, in every time, or in every tense, and regardless what pronoun we use. And 学生 always remains 学生, regardless if it's a female student or a group of students, plural or singular. Always the context should make it clear. Now, another point is people claim Chinese would have a very simple sentence structure of subject, verb, object, and I spoke about it in a previous video already, so I'm just gonna give you the clip right now. You'll be hit by very long, weird, complicated sentences. For instance, I would like to quote this one. 我真是想起来就肚子直叫. And it literally means, I really, when start to think of, then my stomach straight out calls out. And now what could it possibly mean? Please tell me. The translation, the meaning of the sentence is, when I just think about it, my stomach growls. Okay, but why is it written in such a weird way? And that's the reason why it is so difficult to me to speak Chinese, because of these weird sentence structures. And of course, in the beginning, I automatically translate from English into Chinese. I just use English sentence structure, which does not always work out. Okay, now let's get to the last point, which is compound words. And this is the point that Chinese has most in common with the German language. Most Chinese words consist out of 2 characters, and the combination of these characters totally makes sense, so that you can memorize these words easily. For example, 飞机 means airplane, literally flying machine. Same in German, Flugzeug, flying thing. Another example, 钱包 money, bag, so wallet. 国外 country, outside, or something like foreign or abroad. And then even words with 3 characters, 没什么, no something, so nothing. And this is something you can use if somebody expresses their gratitude towards you. They say 谢谢你, and you can say 没什么. But on the other hand side, I have to say vast majority, or not even majority, I'd say like half of all compound words don't make any sense to me. Such as 应该, which means should or must, but 应 means should, 该 means also should. Another example is 本事, which means skill, whereas I learned 本 as like origin and 事 matter. Origin, matter, why does that mean skill? I have no idea. Probably because they also have another meaning. One character can have dozens of meanings, and then it would make sense. But not for me, who I just learned 1 or 2 meanings for one character. Alright, to sum it up, Chinese is a double-edged sword. There were many other points I could talk about, for example, tones and how easy it actually is to pull it off, but also how difficult it is to hit every single tone right in a sentence in order to be understood. On one hand side, there are many concepts that are very easy to understand, but on the other hand side, you need to learn so many characters, roughly 3,000, to understand 99% of daily conversations. And also remember the difficult sentence structure. It's indeed a whole other world. And this is why it takes years to immerse yourself into it, to really understand the language and the culture behind the language. Since I started learning it, this Zhongguo, Middle Kingdom, fascinated me so much. And learning a language also means learning a new culture. So as a result, I wish you all good luck and fun studying Chinese. 加油，再见。